So the question is, does eating healthy make you completely immune from getting the common cold? And the answer is simply, of course not. There's been many people who have had a very excellent, nutritious diet, but nevertheless still acquired the common cold. And there's this misconception or common belief that many people have that think that if you eat really, really healthy, that you should never get a cold, or that you should never get sick or acquire a virus of some sort. And that's simply not true. And many times people that hold on to this belief will use it against those people who do eat healthy to try to make it or imply that, well, what's the point of eating healthy if you still get the common cold? Therefore, you must not be healthy because you get the common cold. And they're simply uneducated and, again, have this misled common belief that, eating healthy is going to protect you from everything, which is simply not true. The fact of the matter is that the average adult gets the common cold between 3 to 4 times per year. You can read that on Wikipedia. That's a statistic. And the common cold is caused primarily by the rhinovirus. Again, Wikipedia, you can read this in the description box down below. So, it's something that you acquire sometimes through contact with other people, if you're working around other people. Many times if you're working in an area where there's a lot of people and you're exposed to a lot of people, you have a greater chance of getting a virus. If your immune system isn't working at optimum level, you're at a greater risk of catching something. So, trying to assume that by eating a superior healthy diet that you're never going to get the virus is really inaccurate and misleading. And of course, people shouldn't eat healthy because they believe that they will never get sick. Because when they do get sick, that's just going to be a great disappointment to them, and they're going to probably think, well, what's the point of eating healthy? I got sick, so I might as well go back to eating junk. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. Of course you don't want to go back to eating junk food. Really, eating healthy has more to do with preventing serious degenerative diseases. And degenerative diseases are different than the common cold, something that you acquire, something that affects your respiratory system, that your body's immunity has to fight off. Common cold doesn't last forever. But a degenerative disease is something that's causing malformations, in your body, abnormal cell growth, like cancer and tumors and things like that. And that's something that can actually kill you. Now, common cold really can't kill you, although if you get influenza, there has been cases where people have died from that. And usually that's due to the very young or the elderly. So, most of the symptoms, of the common cold are like a runny nose, stuffy nose, sore or itchy throat, aches, pains, muscle aches, maybe a small fever. And for the young and the really old, the symptoms can sometimes be much more severe. So, rather than believing that eating healthy could, protect you completely from getting the common cold, it would rather be better to have the mindset of eating healthy can improve my immunity so that I have a greater chance of not catching a virus, or if I do catch the common cold, that having a good immunity by eating healthy will help me to get over it much quicker so that the symptoms aren't as severe. And I believe that's a better way to approach and think about that. Because let's face it, one example I could give is Jack LaLanne. Jack LaLanne was the fitness guru. You know, he had his TV show a long time ago. He always exercised every day. He ate really healthy fruits, vegetables. He juiced. You know, he was doing everything that most people think is really healthy. Yeah, I believe it was at the age of 97 or so, he died of pneumonia. So even though he ate really, really healthy, he still acquired pneumonia, and he unfortunately died from that. And of course, you'll always get some of those people who claim that, you know, they ate superior, they ate a healthy diet, you know, they never ate meat, they never did this, never did that, and they never caught a cold once. Now that's a pretty hard and pretty substantial claim to make, when really people can't back that up by evidence. I mean, you would really seriously have to know what was going on with that person 24/7 for 50, 60, 70 years, or however long they are. I mean, that's pretty an outstanding claim to make. And frankly, I for one don't believe that. Even if somebody gets sick and it only lasts for a day or two, they still got sick. So somebody saying that they never got sick within 15 to 20 years by eating, say, a vegan or raw vegan diet, I just simply don't believe that. You know, our bodies aren't perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. And our bodies are continually trying to detoxify all the time. And that doesn't mean that we're never going to get sick, you know. If you eat healthy, that does not mean you're never going to get sick. And as soon as people start believing that, they're going to disappoint themselves, really. And unfortunately, sometimes I believe that may lead people back into an unhealthy eating paradigm because of the fact that they thought that if they ate healthy, they would never get sick, which is simply not true. Again, eating healthy is really about prevention of serious degenerative diseases. You don't want to get heart disease, you don't want to age fast, you don't want to get diabetes, you don't want to get this, you don't want to get that. But when it comes to acquiring viruses, you know, a couple times throughout the year, in cases of being in contact with certain people, it might happen. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to you, but I do know that if you do catch the cold or a flu, and those are real viruses, which is a scientific fact, don't blame your diet for that. Don't blame your diet for getting sick. Blame the virus. Blame the rhinovirus. Don't blame your green tea or your healthy vegetables. So I guess the thing is when people try to, pick on you when you're sick and everybody knows that you eat healthy and they're trying to make you look bad, come back with, what I've just mentioned here, in that, the common cold has to do with the rhinovirus. It doesn't have to do with what you eat. But with what you eat, you can improve your immunity and you can lessen the severity of your symptoms. For example, people that get the common cold and are smokers is certainly going to have worse symptoms than somebody that doesn't smoke, just simply because the cigarettes are irritating more of the respiratory system in the lungs. So in a case of bronchitis, it's going to be a lot worse for them than somebody that doesn't smoke. Likewise, for someone that eats healthy, the symptoms would be much less severe because they're eating foods in a way that's boosting to the immunity. And that will help lessen the severity of the symptoms and hopefully help you to overcome the cold or the flu that much faster. So, shed this common belief that people have about this and realize that, eating healthy is important. And sometimes we get a cold. We get the sniffles, we get the snuffles, we get, the itchy, the sore throat. Sometimes we get a fever. And frankly, I've also read that sometimes it might actually be a good thing because it just means that your body's optimally working. It's detoxifying. Because think about it, when you're sneezing, when your nose is runny and you're coughing up phlegm and stuff, your body is detoxing. It's expelling all of that crap. And after you get well, you feel that much better because your body feels more rested, it feels cleaner, and that's a good thing. So I would be curious as to wonder why, if someone never got sick, then maybe those detoxifying processes maybe aren't always working the way that they should. You know, or or they're just not up to par when somebody does catch, you know, say a virus or whatever. So another possibility too of why somebody might actually get sick is, you know, a lot of us don't have a very good gut flora, or the bacteria in our gut, right? And what happens a lot of times when people start eating healthy, they start detoxifying more, which can oftentimes bring about symptoms which in many cases seem very similar to the common cold. So they actually may be withdrawal symptoms, or possibly, you know, having to do with the laying down of new good bacteria, probiotics in your gut. So sometimes if you get, you take a probiotic, or you start drinking raw milk, that I've even read, contains a lot of bacteria, and when you're placing all this new bacteria in you, you know, your body starts learning the good ones from the bad, starts fighting, starts acquiring all these different things, and sometimes that can backfire and give you symptoms that may actually seem like the common cold. So there's many different possibilities, and it's not as simple as just black and white. And so hopefully I've shed some light on this, but the main point of the video is, you know, summing it all up here, is realize that, you know, it's always good, it's always important to eat healthy, regardless of whether you catch a cold or the flu. And by eating healthy, you can keep your immune system in tip-top shape, and maybe hopefully lessen the severity of the symptoms if you do happen to catch the rhinovirus. So if you like this video, please like, favorite, and subscribe.